We have spoken of the relentless advance of the machines, of algorithms that judge, that choose, that create. And amidst this march of silicon, a silent question has begun to grow inside each of us. A primal fear. Will I be the next to become obsolete? We handed the machines our logic, our memory, our calculations. And now we watch, fascinated and terrified, as they learn to imitate our art, our language, our conversations. But today, we will stop looking at the machine. We will turn the mirror upon ourselves. We will dive not into the darkness of technology, but of the human soul, to find the one fortress that can never be conquered, the skill that cannot be programmed, the essence that defines us. It is time to awaken to your power before you forget you possess it. An artificial intelligence composes a symphony that brings you to tears. It paints a picture with a beauty that leaves you breathless. It writes a poem that seems to speak directly to your soul. And you ask yourself, how can a machine do this? But that is the wrong question. The right question is, did the AI feel anything while it created? Was there a shiver of inspiration, a creative anguish, a moment of catharsis upon finishing the last note or the final brushstroke? The answer is an absolute silence. The AI is a master of imitation, a stochastic parrot, as some have warned, that has learned to combine patterns from all the art ever created by humanity. It creates a perfect echo, but the original scream is not its own. It can generate the form, but it does not possess the content. It is a phantom code, a soulless masterpiece reflecting our genius, but empty of its own. You're going through a difficult time and you open up to an emotional support chatbot. It responds with the right words. I understand how you feel. That must be very difficult. It seems empathetic, but let's dive into the architecture of this empathy. The chatbot doesn't understand. It uses a massive language model, trained on billions of human conversations, to predict the statistically most appropriate response. It identifies keywords like sad or lonely, and searches its vast database for the sequence of words that has, in the past, proven most effective at comforting a human. It's a computational magic trick, a perfect simulation, but real empathy isn't predicting the right response. It is the silent sharing of a feeling. It is the presence, the connection that happens between two consciousnesses. The AI can simulate the script of empathy, but it can never feel another's pain as its own. At the dawn of computing, in the 19th century, one woman saw the future with frightening clarity. Ada Lovelace, considered the world's first programmer, didn't just see Charles Babbage's analytical engine as a calculator. She saw it as an instrument capable of composing music and creating art, provided someone instructed it how. But in her notes, she left a prophetic warning. The analytical engine has no pretensions whatever to originate anything. It can do whatever we know how to order it to perform. But it has no power of anticipating any analytical relations or truths. Lovelace understood the fundamental distinction. The machine is an executor of orders, no matter how complex. The origin, the intention, the initial spark of a new idea, that belongs to the programmer. It belongs to human consciousness. Today's AI is the direct heir to that machine, and Ada Lovelace's legacy remains its uncrossable frontier. Let's get technical for a moment, because to understand the tool is to understand its limits. The two AI architectures driving the current creative revolution are GANs, generative adversarial networks, and transformers. A GAN works with two models, a generator that creates images from random noise, and a discriminator that tries to tell the fake images from the real ones. They compete for millions of cycles until the generator becomes a master forger. Transformers, in turn, are masters at understanding context and relationships in sequences of data, like text or music. But notice the key concept in both. They operate on existing data. They recombine, recontextualize, remix. They do not create from an experiential vacuum. They cannot have an effective memory of a childhood they never had to inspire a novel. They are tools for existential remixing, but the raw material, the lived experience, is still exclusively ours. Lex Fridman, an MIT researcher, is perhaps the greatest chronicler of the AI era, sitting down for conversations with all the giants of the field, from Sam Altman to Demis Hassabis. And amidst discussions of neural architectures and computational power, one question always returns, like a ghost in the machine: the question of consciousness. What is it? How does it emerge? Can it be replicated? The answers are invariably elusive. The greatest minds on the planet, the architects of our digital future, admit they do not know. They can build systems that mimic intelligent behavior, but the subjective experience, the feeling of being you, the seeing of the color red, the ache of a loss, remains the greatest mystery of science and philosophy. Fridman, with his relentless curiosity, shows us that the final frontier is not technical, it is existential. And as long as consciousness is a mystery to ourselves, it will be an impossibility for our creations. We can program an AI with the trolley problem. We can feed it every philosophy book ever written. We can create a perfect ethical code based on utilitarian or deontological rules. The machine can then make a morally optimized decision. But now, imagine a different scenario. A soldier programmed to follow orders, who realizes the order is immoral. A doctor who must break protocol to save a life in an unexpected situation. These acts require more than logic. They require moral courage. The ability to take personal responsibility for breaking a rule based on a deeper sense of justice. An algorithm cannot have courage. It cannot choose to disobey its fundamental programming for a greater good, because its programming is its greater good. The courage to say no to an unjust order is a purely human act, a connection of technical rules to human responsibility. A company uses an AI to analyze terabytes of market data and recommend the next product strategy. The analysis is flawless, based on all past trends. But an experienced CEO looks at the same data and feels something is wrong. They can't explain why. It's a hunch, a gut feeling. They sense a subtle shift in consumer mood, a new cultural current that hasn't appeared in the charts yet. They veto the AI's decision and bet on a completely different direction, which turns out to be a resounding success. What happened here? Strategic intuition. The ability to synthesize unquantifiable information, body language in a meeting, the tone of a customer's voice, the atmosphere of a city. It's a form of holistic, subconscious data processing that our brains have evolved to perform over millennia. The AI sees the data. We see the world behind the data. Pain is inevitable. Loss, disillusionment, heartbreak. An AI can be trained to identify and classify these emotions in text and images. It can analyze every work of art ever created about suffering. But there is an alchemical step it can never take: reframing. The human ability to take the raw material of pain and transform it into something beautiful, meaningful, or even redemptive. It is the pain that fuels the poetry of Sylvia Plath, the music of Johnny Cash, the paintings of Frida Kahlo. They weren't just replicating a pattern of sadness. They were metabolizing their experiences, digesting their pain, and returning it to the world as a work that helps us understand our own. The AI can analyze the scar, but we are the only ones who can turn it into a story of survival. Why is it so hard for an AI to be genuinely funny? Because humor, especially irony and sarcasm, depends on multiple layers of context that are nearly impossible to program. To understand an ironic joke, you need to understand not only the literal meaning of the words, but also the speaker's intent, the social context, shared knowledge, and the subversion of expectation. It's a ballet of social intelligence. An AI can be trained to tell existing jokes, but creating original, contextual humor is a social Turing test. The genuine laughter a good joke provokes is a reaction to this complex dance of meanings. It's the recognition of a truth told in an unexpected way. It is one of the purest forms of connection and intelligence, and for now, the joke seems to be on our side. What is the purpose of an artificial intelligence? The answer is simple: the purpose we give it. It exists to optimize a route, to answer a question, to generate an image. If we turn off the power, its existence ceases, and it doesn't care. Now, what is your purpose? That question is the driving force of the human journey. We don't exist merely to execute tasks. We have a will to be, an intrinsic drive to grow, to learn, to love, to create, to transcend our limitations. It's the force that gets us out of bed on difficult days. It's the desire to leave a mark on the world, to be remembered for our short passage through this universe, to have meaning. An AI has an external why, defined by its creator. We are the only beings we know of who can define our own why. We tend to think of intelligence as something that happens purely in the brain, but our consciousness is distributed throughout our entire body. Think of the kinesthetic intelligence of a dancer or an athlete who thinks with their muscles. Think of visceral intuition, the gut feeling that warns you of danger before your rational mind processes the threat. This bodily wisdom is the result of millions of years of evolution, a complex feedback system between our brain, our nervous system, and our environment. An AI, no matter how sophisticated, is a disembodied mind. It has no body to feel the world. It has no biology to anchor its intelligence. It can process the world, but we are the only ones who can feel it in our bones. So, what is the human skill that AI will never replace? It is not one single thing. It is an ecosystem of capabilities that blossom from a single seed. Intentional consciousness. It is empathy, moral courage, intuition, creativity born from pain, the will to be. This structure follows a clear narrative path, from a hook to a deep conclusion. Ada Lovelace foresaw the machine's limit. Lex Fridman and his guests are still searching for the nature of the mind. AI can be an incredible tool to extend our abilities, but it cannot replace our core. The great threat is not that AI will become like us. It is that, by constantly comparing ourselves to it, we will forget what makes us human. To awaken now means to actively cultivate these skills. It means valuing human connection over digital interaction. It means practicing courage and empathy. It means understanding that your greatest competitive advantage in this new world is not your ability to process data, but your ability to be profoundly, irrevocably human.